Kimberly Edwards from cookingwithkimberly.com, and today I am handling some of our late summer and fall harvest. So I'm getting things ready to get in the freezer. I'm blanching things, I'm canning things, I'm getting them ready for our long fall, winter, and beginning of spring. Until next year, it's Canada here, so we get really bad produce. Well, not bad produce, but it's not as pretty as it is in the summer. And it's definitely not like having your own stuff out of your own garden. So if you can do it on your own, go ahead and do it, and that's what we're doing. So I harvested a whole bunch of stuff today. Among that, I harvested some larger nasturtium leaves. Now, typically you would use the tender ones to use for greens. You can slice them up, put them in salads, you can put them in dips, you can cook them up like spinach is what I always do. So today I got some of those and I'm gonna blanch them, I'm gonna put them in the freezer as well. But I picked some of the larger leaves that weren't quite as tender, but they're beautiful and they're still in great shape. And I'm going to stuff these. I'm going to use them just like you would use grape leaves. Now, in order to store these guys, I'm going to freeze them. I'm not using them right away. I'm not going to make stuffed nasturtium leaves today. But what I want to do is I want to put them in the freezer so that I'm prepared for when I want to do that, right? So I'm going to grab myself a little tiny knife. Okay, so I've grabbed this right now. This is in a colander, and it's just actually how I harvested them. I did not rinse them under cold water. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not rinsing them off at all. I'm going to leave them dry, and I'm going to freeze them. Now, you can blanch them if you want to, but that's going to be kind of a mess because these are soft. They're going to come out blanched and all like on each other, and you have to undo them and come on now. So this is the easy way. However, if you do it this way, you can't use your leaves for like 2 or 3 months. You need to let them tenderize while they're in the freezer. What happens is those moisture cells, all the cells, the moisture in them, the cells burst because it has water in them. And it lyses the cells, so it breaks the cells. And that's what tenderizes things, is because those cells break. So I need that to happen so that when I bring these out, they're ready to stuff and they're nice and tender. Nasturtium leaves, even though these are the more mature ones, they're beautiful, they're in perfect shape, right? And they're still just as tender as a grape leaf would be. So what I've done is I've just picked them off, and I have just little tiny stems on the back, and I just need to cut those off so they lay as flatly as possible. Now, really make sure that you don't cut into that leaf. You want this leaf to stay completely intact, okay? And you're gonna repeat that on all of these leaves, and you'll see me when that's done. I don't think you need to watch me do that. So cut all those little stems off after you harvest, and we'll be right back. Now that's pretty good. I'm sorry about the sunlight coming in this time of day, but it's the way it is. Now all these little stem pieces and any leaves that you broke, you can throw in your little freezer bag that you keep with your clippings and things like that, so that when you make your chicken or vegetable stocks or stews, you got a little something, something. So that's where that goes. I just keep a little resealable freezer bag, and that's where that goes. Next thing's next. You want to wipe them off. Mine are pretty dry because it's a nice dry day and I harvested, but you want to wipe them off lightly and gently so as not to wreck the leaves, just to make sure there's no dirt, debris, bugs, etc., because you're not washing these off. You don't want these to be moist going in. It's a problem. So just take a look for them. I had one that had like a little cobweb thing on the bottom, but that's about it. These look pretty darn good. Yours may be more dirty. You never know. So that's what I'm doing. Repeat on all of them, and I'll be right back again. Now, as you can see, I only took the larger ones that I'd be able to really stuff. The younger, tender, smaller ones, they're really nice for eating like that, just sauteed up. But these guys, I want to have a nice big leaf so that I can stuff them nicely. You're probably going to stuff them with, I don't know, ground meat of some kind, or chopped meat of some kind, with maybe some rice. That'd be nice, or even a bread stuffing, some kind like that. Mostly rice, just like how you would do cabbage rolls or doma from the stuffed grape leaves. So that's what we're looking at. Nasturtium, if you're wondering, every part of the plant is edible. The leaves, the flowers, the stems, the pods, everything. So this is just yet another part of the plant that I can eat, and it has a peppery, radish-like flavor. They're very green tasting, and they're super healthy for you. Look at that green leafy vegetable that you're trying to get into your diet, right? Everyone's talking about green leafy vegetables, and all you think about is lettuce or spinach, right? There's a ton of green leafy vegetables or plants that you can eat and you can get the same benefits from. This is going to be a nice change in the middle of winter. This is going to be 3 months from now at least, so it's end of September. It's going to be end of December before I use these bad boys, right? So it'll be dead of winter, and I'm going to have these nice, fresh leaves that came right out of my garden organically, that are tasty, that is going to be that je ne sais quoi on my table one night for some nice stuffed little packages of goodness. And then I'll probably top them off with sour cream. That'd be great. Make sure that you have some resealable plastic bags, freezer bags. I'm just using my ones I have from my no-name brand, but as long as they're freezer bags and you can reseal them, that's great. Also, you're going to want to invest in nice black magic markers so that you can mark all your stuff, and everyone knows, you know, when that stuff was made and when you need to use it by, etc. When I'm going to label these bags for these leaves, I'm going to group them together, and I'm going to put the number of leaves on the bag so that I know how many I've got left, and I can organize them according to how many I think are going to fill a tray, like my casserole or baking dish. And that way I can just keep them organized. I can grab one bag at a time. Now these, being in the freezer, they need to be left alone. Not just like left in there to tenderize over the couple months, but you don't want to mess with them because they're going to be very delicate and they can break. They're going to be frozen, and these leaves are just like freezing some, you know, any other leaf. It's just going to go snap. So leave them in a part of your freezer that you're not going to be messing with them and moving them around a lot. Just leave them, okay? They want to be left alone. These look great. We had such a beautiful harvest this year of our nasturtium. What a great flower. If you're going to be gardening and going to all that trouble, you know, tending to the soil and the weeds and all that stuff, you might want to think about planting plants that will yield you food, you know, or something other than just the beauty and the fun of gardening. You can double up on those things, and they can help produce you food for the summer and throughout your winter. And that's what we usually. Nasturtium, not only are they great ground cover and they cover up your weeds in your garden, but they have gorgeous flowers, and they range from a white beigey color through yellow and orange up through red and even to a burgundy. And that we had the whole kit and caboodle this year. I was really pleased. And it did a beautiful job. What ground cover, it just spread. It even went on my little sidewalks and has little runners. Nasturtium is a gorgeous flower. It is tasty, it smells good, and it is such a high producing plant. I only use the leaves that are unblemished to make sure when you're harvesting them, you're very careful not to break too far into that stem. You want to leave a little bit off so you can cut it off and control, right? What's going on. Okay, now I'm going to count out my leaves and I'm going to arrange them, okay? Okay, that's a stack of 10, and I'm going to arrange them that way. I'm going to put them in stacks of 10 until I can figure out what I'm going to do with grouping them together. So that's what I suggest that you do. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to keep the center of those leaves. Now let me show you. The leaf has a definite center, and all of them do, right? So I'm going to put the centers on top of each other, no matter what the shape, the leaf shape is like. And that way it'll keep them kind of a little bit more organized. See, that's ripped. That's got now, if you wanted to, you can stuff these now and put them in your baking dish and put them in the freezer and have that ready like that too. That's another option. Okay, I've arranged them in groups of 10 and stacks of 10, and I have come up with 90 leaves exactly after the ones that ripped. So that's perfect. I'm thinking that 30 per baking dish, per casserole dish, like this. We'll probably take about 30 of these bad boys. So that's three whole meals of nasturtium leaves that I can stuff over the cold winter, okay? So into my Ziploc bags, which don't have to be very big because they're not that big of leaves, I'm going to mark my date, and I'm going to put 30 leaves on each bag so that I know, right? And the date leaves and the number. That way, you know when you can use them. Because they have to tenderize, so it has to be 3 months, and that way you'll know exactly when it was, and you know exactly how many leaves there is, so that you can make a proper dinner the way you want, right? And you already know what's up. So into the bag as gently as I possibly can, because I don't want to rip these beautiful leaves that I've just processed. And I'm going to put 30 in a bag each. Now, when you put them into your freezer, don't mess with them. Like I said, leave them alone. These are gonna be in their little winter hideaway for a couple months and come out and feed us with a bounty. So I'm gonna squish as much air out as I can. Seal it up. So in here lies the beginnings of a gorgeous dish for winter. And I'm just gonna repeat the rest with these. And I don't think you need to watch me. You can do the same thing. Go harvest your nasturtium leaves. Only if you know that you haven't sprayed them with any kind of chemicals or pesticides. Make sure that they're grown organically yourself from seed. Don't just plant a plant you bought because you don't know how that was brought up, okay? You have to plant them from seed and you have to grow them organically. So if you do that and you have them outside like that, you'll be a happy camper and you can do the same thing I did. Make sure that you try these out. I hope you try using nasturtium and some edible flowers. Don't be scared of that stuff. It's just a vegetable nonetheless, just like everything else. And that's it, that's all. Follow me on Twitter at Cooking with Kim E with a capital E. I hope you like the fan page. It's facebook.com/cookingwithkimberly. My shows are on ifood.tv/cookingwithkimberly and youtube.com/cookingwithkimberly. And my site is cookingwithkimberly.com. That's it, that's all. Be a champion in your kitchen and eat deliciously.